Today is one of my most favorite days of the year. The pasture is finally mature enough for the horses to go out on it. This can be a very exciting day for some of the horses that are not quite ready to be out on pasture, so I'm going to feed
Nigel!
everybody their breakfast first, and then I'll be turning the boys out onto the big pasture.
Prim. Hey, Zig. Hey, girl. You. Okay, come on, boys.
I'm not sure who keeps breaking the fence, but I've got a pretty solid guess that it is Stewie reaching over to get some grass snacks. For now, I'm just going to get this out of the way so the horses don't get tangled up in it, and while they're turned out this morning, I'll come back in and fix it again.
Okay, boys, you ready?
This time of year, it's really tricky to juggle getting the horses ready to be out on grass, and then also the grass being ready to have the horses out on it. These boys have eaten down the entire tiny pasture that they've been getting acclimated to the grass on, so now they are finally ready to go out and have full reign of the big pasture. This big pasture is made up of two different smaller 5-acre pastures, but this year I do think I'm just going to leave them all open so the horses can go wherever they want. Typically, I try and save the back pasture for later on in the year, but it always works out that the grass gets dried up before they can even get out there. So this year, I'm just going to let them eat everything all at once. All of these boys have been here quite some time, so they pretty much know the drill at this point. Stewie is ready to go. These boys will certainly run and jump and play, but I'm not too worried about them getting hurt. I don't like it when the horses share a fence line, so I will be turning Ziggy and Scarlet out in the next couple of days while these boys are in their dry lot. While these boys do have enough space in their dry lot to run and jump and play, it is really nice to see them run around in the big pasture. Right off the bat, there is not too much excitement. I think these horses are just really excited to get a few little tastes of the long grass out here. Gus is a little bit sore this morning. That is kind of typical for him in the morning before he gets out and really starts moving around for the day. It is a little bit hard to tell the horses apart with the light this morning, but little Gus starts stretching his legs right off the bat. Typically, it takes them a few minutes to realize that they are free, and then they'll start galloping around a little bit. Little Gus and Whiplash have a nice little lope back to the boys. I'm pretty bummed to see that we do have quite a bit of particulates in the air. This is all from wildfires that are probably up in Canada right now. After a few bites of grass, it looks like Stewie is going to be the first one to go all the way back to the back pasture. This will be the first spring that Whiplash is turned out with these boys, so I'm interested to see if he gets a little bit more stallion-like as the day goes on. He, of course, is not a stallion anymore, but he was for a very long time, and this time of year, sometimes he likes to round up all the horses he's with.
Boys. Stewie.
It looks like none of these boys want to join Stu in the back pasture. Honestly, the grass back there is not as tasty as the stuff closer to the barn.
Fly whip.
Kind of disappointing that they didn't start running around, but eventually Stewie convinced them.
Stewie! Stewie! Oh, Pete! Good boys. Stewie. Stew.
It wasn't too long before Stewie decided that he needed a little break and had to have a little snack. With all of these horses a little bit on the older side, it is not a surprise to see that they'd rather stand around and graze than hang out with Stewie. But it's not long before they're ready to run around a little bit more.
Woo, Stewie!
These boys really only ran around for about 10 minutes before they were tuckered out. They've really not been worked very hard this spring, so they're not in very good shape at the moment. I was really surprised to see that Big Gus did gallop around for a tiny little bit with the rest of the boys. This really tall, mature grass is good for some of the horses that are a little bit more prone to laminitis. The fiber is much higher and the sugar is typically much lower than the early season grass. I've been catching a lot of flack about not turning my horses out earlier, but this is a much safer way to do it. Laminitis is no joke, and it does cause irreversible harm to the horse's feet and all of the sensitive structures inside. So I would much rather push this turnout date as far back as I can to make sure the grass is ready and as safe as possible for these horses. Going forward, these boys will get out for a few hours in the morning. I'll bring them in the afternoon.
Stewie!
There is kind of a natural ebb and flow to their grazing pattern, so in a few hours they will naturally want to come in and just stand and take a nap, and that is around the time that I'll close their gate again. I'm going to keep a very close eye on Big Gus. Sometimes he can't handle being out on grass as long as the other horses. I'll be interested to see if after he's out here running around, if his muscles get a little bit sore or if he's loosened up. My plan for Ziggy and Scarlet is to start turning them out over the next couple of days. They'll get eased into it just like these boys were. As the summer goes on, these boys will go to an overnight schedule, so they'll be out for around 12 hours every evening, and then Ziggy and Scarlet can go out during the day.
Hey, Gussie.
All of the horses are looking really good. Pete's in good condition. The only one that is a little bit too roly-poly out here is Stewie. Since these boys are going to be running around and out on grass instead of alfalfa now, they should lose a bit of weight. The grass pasture has about a quarter of the calories that their alfalfa hay does. The alfalfa is perfect for refeeding the abused horses and keeping weight on these horses during the long winter.
Stew.
This is one of the reasons I don't turn my skinny horses out on pasture. It's just way easier for them to get fattened up on the alfalfa. I know I'm going to have a lot of questions about the ground squirrel holes and the gopher holes. This one is brand new. They did this last night. I do go through all of the pastures and fill in all of the holes before the horses come out here, but inevitably there will be some that pop back up. I'm using the tiny little pasture in the middle for a kind of gopher paradise, so any holes that pop up there I will not be covering up. Compared to years before, Pete is a little bit reserved this year, but it's always nice to see him get out and stretch his legs. This is the reason I really like having Gus out on pasture. He moves out on his own really nicely and gets the perfect amount of exercise for his condition. With his PSSM, he can't do explosive running around and he does need to be on a lower sugar diet, but I found that the pasture is the perfect combination of movement and calories for him. The other horses haven't been chasing him around since I added him to this little herd, but they don't seem to be welcoming him with open arms either. It looks like he's content just to mosey on the outskirts of their little herd and enjoy the grass by himself.
Gussie. Boy.
While the horses are out on pasture this morning, I'm going to fix the fence. I think I am finally going to be able to drag their dry lot. The electricity to this fence is definitely on because I accidentally touched it this morning, but it will be nice to have all of these fences retensioned. It's not like the horses are going to try and escape to get out of the grass pasture. After about 10 more minutes out here, it looks like these boys had a little bit of a second wind.
Come on, Gussie. Stewie.
I don't know if you guys could hear it, but Prim is in the round pen this morning and she is definitely in heat again. And after being out against Nigel, I think Whiplash has realized that he did used to be a stallion. It is pretty fun to see him prance around and take care of his little herd of geldings though. For 21 years old, this guy still has some pretty good moves. I don't really expect these boys to run around too much more today. They'll head back out to the pasture and spend the next 2 or 3 hours grazing, probably checking the fence line and doing other horsey things. The next couple of days it is supposed to be extremely hot out here, so I don't think these boys are going to want to run around too much. As far as the other horses go, Frisco Bill cannot go out on pasture, at least until his feet are better, and then I think I'll be pretty nervous about it. Goose and Studman are going to go out on grass, but they're going to stay on their tiny little private pastures closer to the barn so I can regulate their intake a little bit better. Ziggy and Scarlet are going out on the smaller pasture, and then I might add Prim to the mix later on in the year. For those of you guys who have a hard time telling little Gus and big Gus apart, this is little Gus, and then here comes big Gus. Big Gus has his socks on the hind feet and a little star on his forehead, and then little Gus has his socks on the front feet and he has a star, a stripe, and a snip on his head. Little Gus is about 14.1, 14.2, and big Gus is about 15.1 or 15.2. Stewie and Whiplash do look a lot alike. Stewie does not have any white on him, however.
Peter!
Before I got started in on all of the big chores for the afternoon, I decided to just take some time and hang out with the horses and enjoy this nice weather.
Boys. Good boys. Whip. Nigel. Hey, little bud. Want a snack? Hey, Nigel. Oh. Here you go, Nigel. Nigel. Hey, look, buddy. Gus.
I've been putting off dragging this dry lot because there were a few baby killdeer in here, but it looks like they finally learned how to fly and are gone, so it's safe to go ahead and drag in here now.
You okay, Gus?
These boys have probably been out long enough this morning, so I'm going to give them a little bit of a snack to entice them to come back in.
Good boys.
I don't want to be feeding them too much extra feed, but they do need something to do while they're in their dry lot for the afternoon.
Good boys. Stu, are you kidding me?
Thankfully, I was able to avoid any catastrophes by the horses stepping on my drag. I'm glad I was able to get everything broken up in here, so it's looking a little bit nicer. With the really warm weather, it'll be good to get everything broken up and cleaned. I am gonna close up the pasture and then they'll get back out on it tomorrow morning. Even though the mature grass is a lot safer as far as sugar content goes, I do still like to keep them on a schedule, slowly easing them into it until they're at their full turnout time. Nigel has spent the last couple of weeks keeping these other boys in line, and I think he's happy to finally have some rest. One of the reasons I really don't want to put another horse in with Nigel is I don't think that he would lay down and sleep if he was having to interact with another animal. I really would have to find the absolute perfect match for him, and I've tried in the past. He's had several girlfriends and they just haven't worked out. Since Prim has been spending a lot more time away from Frisco Bill, I think Frisco and Nigel will end up being buddies for the majority of the summer.
Hey, Zig. Oh, I know it, buddy. Zig.
Zig is another one that is maybe getting a little bit too plump.
Hey, Mare.
It'll be nice to get these horses out on the grass. There's just a few more things I have to do to prepare their fence. I want to put a piece of electrical tape around the arena because that fence is quite low. And then I also want to make sure that the fence is visible, and this side attached to the dry lot needs a piece as well.
Hey, girl. Come here. Come here. Zig.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.